In this video, we're going to have a look at a plugin called Depicter, which is great for sliders, but you can also use it to make content on your page. And of course, it also pulls in dynamic content. And there are all kinds of settings that you can set. So to get started, let's head over to the website. And I'm going to just build it here on this website. Let's go to the admin and we'll go over to plugins. And I'm just going to add in Depicter, and of course it comes up in the listing. Install now, and we're done, and we can start making the content for our website. So nothing on this website, and using the standard 2022 theme from WordPress. So we've installed it. I'm going to head down to Depicter and let's start putting something together. So this is the opening screen, and I'm going to create my first slider. And of course, being the home page, I want to create something dramatic at the top of the page. So let's have a look at post sliders. In this case, then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this travel one. I think that'll work nicely at the top of the page. So you can bring it in, and we'll just ignore that video. Right, so here I have it on the page. What I'm going to do is go straight to publish. Right, the changes are published, and then I'm just going to copy that. Right, and then to show you how easy it is to apply, I'm going to head back here to WordPress. Right, I'm on the page, and I need to edit the site, so let's go to the editor. Right, so we're in the standard 2022 website editor. I don't want that in my design. I also didn't want to remove the entire header. So much easier then to go to the drop-down view, and let's remove that image. So just the image and that spacer, which is below the header, let's remove that as well. That'll interfere with our slider. So I'm just going to remove the spacer. Right, so and also I'm going to remove this query loop. Right, so let's add some content. So let's go add, let's look for Depicter. We're going to add Depicter, select the slide from the list. So there should be a list here on the right hand side somewhere. Settings, travel journey 1. So we're going to pop that in there. I'm going to save. And then let's go and have a look at the website. So here I am on the website. We've just made the updates. So already you can see, yeah, that's looking pretty good as the opening item on our page. Right, the other thing I want to do, let's just make one or two small changes here. And easier then to use this navigation view. So we have the header, which is in a group, and we want to set that padding to 0, margin to 0, everything to 0. And yeah, there we have a nice, I'm just going to leave it like that quickly. So at the top of the page now we have this very narrow band, and then we have our slider pulling in. Let's just make that 20 then. Okay, so we've got a little bit of spacing there. That's a bit better. What I can do now, if I want to add some more in terms of slides, let's head over to the back end and go back to Depicter. And maybe I want to highlight some services. Let's create a slider. Let's go to maybe portfolio or services. Want something interesting. Maybe that kind of fits in with the traveler theme. So I'm going to import that one. Alright, so that's imported, and now I can edit it, and you'll see at the bottom here there's a number, so I can have a look and see what the other slides look like. So there we have the different slides, and I want something warm and inviting. So let's say that's more in line with what we're doing. Let's delete that one, delete that one. So now I'm only going to have one slide on the page, and I'm going to remove those controls. So now I just have one slide on the page, and I can publish that. And what I'll do now is go back to the website, and let's go and add another Depicter element. Right, so let's just add Depicter, and now from the list here, you'll see that the slide that I just created is invisible, and that's because we need to refresh this page. So we quickly refresh the editor, loads nice and fast, and let's go with Traveler 3. Let's save that. Right, and now when I go and have a look at the website, you'll see that we have the header, and then we have the two pieces of content. So that kind of goes on, that kind of goes on nicely. And because this is just a single element, of course, there's no slider. And over here, I have my controls. So we have the slider, that followed by this piece of interesting content. And then let's add another piece. So let's create a slider. And maybe here we're just going to go for something maybe something a little bit different. So if you have a look at it, we have from that, we have now for something to do, and that looks pretty cool with somebody on a bicycle. Or we could have a look at something like this. Let's keep it with the travel theme. Right, so we're just going to bring that in, and then I'm going to publish that. So as you can see, this brought in without bringing in the content, so maybe that's not the right way to go. Right, let's go back to Depicter. Right, that was the beauty blog that didn't bring in any content. That might be because it's linked to dynamic content. So yes, that would have been linked to dynamic content. So let's just we can import, but we don't have anything to import. So all the slides that you make, you can save and then export to other projects. Then if that's not going to work, let's go with the aquarium. So we'll import that. Right, so that's got a video, so that's quite cool. We'll publish that. And then we'll head back to WordPress install, do a quick refresh, and we'll duplicate that. And let's go for aquarium, save. Right. So what's nice now is that in our website, we will just be, adding one slider after the other, and you can see we're already starting to build a really nice web page. And here, once again, we have the controls for the slides. And if we don't want to have those slides coming through, very easy to head over to the aquarium, and we'll just remove those slides. We could also do it by just removing the controls, but let's do it this way. So we'll delete that and delete that. Publish. Right, so that's pretty much how easy it is to add different elements onto your page. So that makes it really interesting. So that's very quick. Now what we might want to do is just change what's on there. So to edit is also just as easy. I'm going to go back to the WordPress interface with the different slides, and let's just start with the top one. We'll edit that. Then you'll see when you edit, it opens in a new tab, and let's say easy to edit text in the header. So that's how easy it is to edit the text. You can just select the item and start typing, and then on the right hand side here you have all these options. You can change the tag, great for SEO. You can also change the font weight, change that to medium, for example. You can change the font face, the alignment, transform uppercase, lowercase, or lowercase. You can have a look at text wrapping, turn that on, or leave it on normal. So there's a whole lot that you can do there. Then you have these options. We're not going to have a look at those now, but you can also here, for example, put in the link. You can add some custom style, and there's an example at the bottom. You can have a hover effect. So if you want something to happen on hover, you can do that. We haven't enabled the hover, but quite easy if you wanted to hover, and you then have this hover effect. Let's just go back there. So that's the opacity, and or maybe what you want to do is just change the scale. So leave the opacity there, and on hover we'll change the scale. You can also have animation. How do you want this to slide in? At the moment we have bottom, you've got left, right, custom, a fade animation, which is really nice. And then down here you can preview that. So if we have a look at that, that's how it moves in. And then you can have some actions like go to URL, and the trigger is click, or the mouse in or the mouse out. So that's also quite nice. So quite a few options that you can do there, all the way from design to those actions, which is really nice. If you want to, let's publish those changes. And if you want to, then you can just preview it here in the window. So there's the window, and you'll see we set on the hover effect to expand in size. Probably would want that to be a bit smoother. You can also preview mobile. So there we have tablet, and there we have the mobile view, and that seems to look okay. Let's go back to general. Let's go back to the image. We're going to go back to the hover. So we've left the opacity. Hover animation, and here we've said ease. So now what's going to happen is, instead of it being that hard shift, now you'll see that when we hover over, we've got that nice ease in and ease out animation. So there you go. That's how easy it was to add the animation to that item. So yeah, you can come in here. You can then on your buttons change the kind of buttons you have. You can make them bigger, can move them around. So we can make it really big. And you can then also have an animation. So that's from the left. Let's change it to the bottom. Let's save that. So now when we go to our website and we refresh, there is that slide we edited, and you can see hover over the image enlarges. We've moved the image to the right, and now we have all these different things going on. So all kinds of animations happening here. So that's how you can confuse your customers with too many animations, but essentially how you can change your slide. Let's inspect, and let's look at that on a mobile view. And let's just change that to, so there we have that slide works, and that one works. You'll see how the layout is completely different for mobile, and that's because if I go in here and I select mobile, I can, move things around the way that I want them, and they can be a little bit different for mobile as opposed to what you would have on your desktop. So yeah, you can also I mean, it's really up to you how you want this all to come together. Yeah, and once you're done, you just publish and make sure to say publish changes and to see the green dot to make sure it saves. So let's head back here. Right, so that's how easy it is then to create something quite simple. What we can also do, if we so wish, is we can also change the way that each of these slides functions. Now, this one is a static one, so there's no animation or auto slide needed. So I'm going to head back here to WordPress, and because it keeps opening in a new window, you just need to keep closing the old ones. Now, this is the top one, and maybe here we want to activate or change the animation. So here at the top you have this options section, and here under general you can say, okay, no, this is going to be full screen. So if we made this a full screen, for example, we'd now have a full screen. And what we can also do, in this case it's full screen, but here you can also set the height of the content, the content wrapper, and then the responsive content sizes. So you can also check what that looks like by changing the selector here. So we're just going to leave it. Oh, that's to hide. Here's where you choose the selector for the different sizes of your animation to see what it's going to look like. So we don't want to hide it on any of those, and we've changed it to a full screen. So if I was to publish that the same way, then if I refresh the page, now you see that I have this full size slider, and I didn't have to do anything except change that selection there. So this is where you can set the size and the layout. If I wanted something full width, I can do that, and if I want something slightly narrower, I can maybe change it from the 700 to the 500. And then here we have the tablet content height and the mobile. So now you'll see, in this case now it would be a lot narrower. So really easy to make those changes. Let's head back. So back to settings. Then we have the navigation. So standard is swipe, mouse wheel swipe, touch swipe, keyboard navigation. And this is where we can set the auto slideshow. So in this case, we'll set the auto slideshow and then the slideshow duration. And then, of course, we have the pause on hover, should I say, as standard. So that's nice. If I want to look at something, I can look at it and then decide to drag it over, or I can use these arrows and navigate between the slides. If I move the mouse off, then the auto navigation will kick in again. Let's just publish that. Right, the sliding animation, in this case it uses a mask. We could also use a fade. So now the slides will fade in, fade out. Right, there you can see the fade. Then we have loading options. Let's go for something quite different. Right. Under advanced, we can look at some added styles, and then callbacks. You can do all kinds of things based on sliding change ended, sliding change started, swiping. So there's a whole lot of things that you can do here. And if you wanted to add something, if there was a slimer, you could add and then just drop in whatever custom you wanted to happen there. We're not going to do anything, but you can if you decide to. So that's the options, which are really easy to use, easy to implement. Then on the left-hand side here, we have these content elements. So the first one at the top is photos, and these are photos. These are stock images. The other thing that's true about this, though, is that you can also pull in your own photos. So if you have any photos stored into the media folder, this is where you could pull them, and you'll see that these have already come in from the slides that I have loaded. The next option we have is video. So if you wanted stock video, there's stock video, or you could pull in your own video from YouTube or Vimeo. Simply put in the URL. Then we have some standard shapes. So anything you want to do here with a shape, you can either drag and drop elements on the page, or if you select an element, it always drops it in the top left-hand corner. And that's true for the images, the text as well. Just one thing on the images, the photos that you'd like to know. If, let's say we had a look at these backgrounds. I wanted to add, that maybe work as a background. Let's delete that one. If I want to set this as the background, we just, well, the easiest way to do it is to click on the image and then click here on select as slide background, and there we have a different photo for our dream vacation. And remember, there are several slides, so if we click on the slide options, so that would be the first slide now would be the building. And if we want to remove the background image, we can simply remove the image. And if we want to undo anything, we undo, and that'll bring back our building. You can also right click on different areas, and you'll see that you'll have different options. So in this case, remove background, remove slide, duplicate slide. If I right click on the text, I can do different things again. Copy styles, paste styles, copy position, paste position. So nice if you creating a new slide and you want it to be similar to the first one, you can just grab some content from one slide, go to the next one, and just copy it in place. Show on all slides. If you've got something you want on all slides, maybe like the controls, they should automatically be on each one. If there is something else, maybe a logo, you can do that as well. And then, of course, resetting positions and sizes. So yeah, a lot of options here to go through, and this is all in a free version. There's a premium version of the plugin coming, so I'm curious to see what is deemed premium. In terms of the background image then as well, you can decide how you want that to display. In this case though, we're just going to go full cover, and then of course you can adjust that top, right, left, and it does look a bit better like that. So that's how you can adjust the background of your slide. Yeah, then you have the shapes, and then of course you can also bring in various buttons, and then these are the controls to move between slides. At the moment, those are those two controls. You can also bring in some that show the pagination, bullets, whatever you want really. Pause, play, scroll down indicators. So this is the one at the top, so maybe we'll do that. And of course, we want that in white, and that would just indicate, yeah, maybe something can head down. So once again, once you've added something, just publish, and you're done. Right, so that's how you can add various elements to the page. Now, if you wanted to go with something dynamic that's relatively easy to set up, you'll see on the right hand side you have your data sources, and by simply selecting the data source and you want to do WordPress posts, you can now drag the title onto your page, and then that will immediately pull in the posts from the website, and it will also then on the right hand side here display the posts that are being pulled in. There are no results here because there are no posts, but if there were, you would see the posts that are going to be included in this slider. Here you can select the number of posts, the length of the excerpt, and you can even set an offset, so how many posts shouldn't be in this particular, should be ignored before the first post is shown. And you can also then link slides to each post if you want to. So click on the slide and you'll go through to that post. Order by date, name, ID, ascending or descending. So that's how that works. So I'm just going to delete that because we don't have any posts. But you can then also, for example, for featured image, you could bring your featured image into the page, and you could even set that featured image as the background image. We don't have anything at the moment, so we're not going to use that as the background image. So I'll just head up to images and let's select an image here. And now you'll see that dropped straight into the background. And so if you move your image around until you see that blue line around the background, it'll drop your image straight into the background like that. Right, so I think we're going to leave that one like that. We'll publish that. So now if we have a look at our website, you'll see that we have this narrower band. We have that new loader, and we click on that little mouse and it scrolls us down. So really cool. And that would be a little bit better if that was a full screen. So if I wanted to change that to a full screen slider, I'm going to head over to General, Full Screen, Publish. Just wait for that change to take effect. Publish the changes. Head over here now, and boom, we have our full page, and that slides us down to the next one. All right, so that's how you can build up a whole page then with your Depictor slider. So it's more than just a slider. It can then also be used to build up content. The next question you're going to have is, well, that's great. We've got all this slider content, but how much of a drain is that on resources? So bear in mind, this site, no optimization. Let's log out. And then let's go to the website. All right, so there's our website. And let's just have a look and see what speeds we get here. So I'm going to head over here to Lighthouse. And let's analyze the page. So there goes the page. And let's see what happens. Right, that looks good. That's the mobile view. And right, so that's not too great. Let's see what the major errors are. So let's have a look at performance. Yeah, it took a while to load. Right, so there are a couple of things here that need to be looked into. Yeah, so it might need a little bit of optimization then to just get that into the right scheme of things. The best practice, of course, SEO, those can easily be updated and adjusted, but the important one then is performance. So 9 seconds, that's a bit slow. Let's try that again. Also quite a few errors coming up in the loading here. I'm not sure what that's all about. So that could also be a contributing factor. All right, 70. So first content paint 1.1 second. That's a bit better. And not sure what all the images are. Okay. Well, I guess in the end, with a bit of optimization, this can work really well, but it does scale nicely and it does look good. And anybody on mobile will be able to pop along and navigate, and it does everything it says on the box. And of course, you have full control over the view on mobile, so you can adjust as you need. And if we look at that on a tablet, Yeah, and that also, yeah, looks all right. Even on the tablet, it'll resize for that tablet size. And of course, you can go in and edit the layout for each platform. So you can move this around the way that you want. So yeah, I think a pretty good slider then. Can be used just to do sliders or to use to make a creative or interesting looking page. And then of course the other way to up the page a little bit, let's just log in here again. So I'll just refresh here. What we can also do then is also put our own content in between the content that's there. So if I go here, I'm going to refresh. So at the moment what we have is we just have the slider content, but there's nothing stopping me from coming in here and adding some other elements. I don't have anything to add, but if I did want to add something else, I could. Yeah, whatever you wanted to, you can pull in between this content, or you can add spaces between it if you wanted to. So it really works really nicely. So I think that the Depicter plugin gets a thumbs up, not only for the fact that you can create nice animated sliders with it, but also for the fact that you can create really cool content for your page as well. And really quickly, really easily, and the integration with the stock images and video also means that to create something interesting, you can do it really quickly. You can also pull in the post, the dynamic content. So that's another plus that I would say for the slider. So yep, go ahead and get it, put it on your website. Works really well, and also looks like it optimizes pretty good as well. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching.